Welcome into Steelers Talk. I am your host, Jack Sperry, and we have a developing story going on in the city of Pittsburgh right now as Aaron Rodgers, four-time NFL MVP and Super Bowl champion and free agent quarterback that we've been waiting on for a while, is visiting the Pittsburgh Steelers facility today, meeting with staff, talking with head coach Mike Tomlin, GM Omar Khan, and owner Art Rooney II. Now, no deal is imminent as we are recording this video right now, but there are some that are indicating that a deal could potentially get done today, and if not today, then in the coming days over the weekend. Before we get into the latest reporting and breaking down what this could mean for the Pittsburgh Steelers moving forward, make sure you guys click that subscribe button, because when and if Aaron Rodgers decides to sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers, we will be going live on this channel to discuss it, and we'll also be giving away an Aaron Rodgers Steelers jersey on that stream. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button, turn on those notifications, and of course, if the Steelers make any other moves outside of quarterback this offseason, we will also get you guys breaking news coverage. So make sure you click that subscribe button right now if you haven't already. And with that, let's get into the reporting here. And it all started with Jerry Dulac, your guys' favorite Pittsburgh Post-Gazette reporter, saying, breaking, Aaron Rodgers is at the Steelers facility today. An indication a deal with the team could be forthcoming per sources. Then he followed that up by saying sources have cautioned a commitment from Rodgers may not come today, if at all. And he is just visiting with team owner Art Rooney II, head coach Mike Tomlin, and general manager Omar Khan. Also, Adam Schefter from ESPN says Aaron Rodgers is visiting the Steelers' training facility today and meeting with their coaching staff, as Jerry Dulac reported. No deal at this time is close, per source. Then Dianna Russini, who, by the way, her agent is works for the same agency as Aaron Rodgers' agent, and she's been getting some pretty, kind of in-depth sourcing from Rodgers' team, says the plan in Pittsburgh is for Aaron Rodgers to visit with Steelers coaches. Pittsburgh has kept its offer open to the four-time MVP, and one source says it's possible an agreement is reached today. So it is possible, ladies and gentlemen, that Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers could come to an agreement today, and Rodgers could be the next starting quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, I will point out here, guys, that I think it's significant that head coach Mike Tomlin and GM Omar Khan are not at Michigan's Pro Day today, especially with guys like Kenneth Grant and Will Johnson working out in Ann Arbor, two potential first-round draft targets for the Steelers. The fact that they're in Pittsburgh meeting with Rodgers, and then the fact that Rodgers made the trip from California cross-country to Pittsburgh to meet with the Steelers tells me that this is pretty significant. And then also the fact that he's deciding to meet with the Steelers first over the New York Giants probably lends credence to the fact that Pittsburgh is the preference for him at this stage in his decision-making. So you take a look here at his numbers over the last four seasons. Obviously, played 4 snaps in 2023 with a torn Achilles, came back from that torn Achilles last year, put up almost 4,000 yards passing, 28 touchdowns to 11 interceptions. Of course, finished his the season last year pretty strongly with the New York Jets once they got Davante Adams. But this is obviously somebody that is a multiple-time MVP, and this is somebody that head coach Mike Tomlin has a lot of respect for, and Rodgers has a lot of respect for the head coach here in Pittsburgh, which is why, from the very beginning here, I think that Mike Tomlin's number one quarterback target was Aaron Rodgers. Not Justin Fields, not Sam Darnold, not Russell Wilson, not anybody else. I think Rodgers has been Tomlin's primary target at this position from the word go. That's why early Monday morning on the first day of free agency, Adam Schefter reports Steelers targeting Aaron Rodgers. That's why apparently the Steelers didn't give a competitive offer for Sam Darnold. That's why they only offered Justin Fields Daniel Jones level money. If they really believed in Justin Fields as their next starting quarterback, guys, and their quarterback of the future, they would have easily matched what the New York Jets were offering, which was $20 million per season. And if they needed to pay up even more than the Jets, they would have done that if they truly believed in Justin Fields. I believe Mike Tomlin believes Aaron Rodgers is still a high-end quarterback option for his football team and gives Cam Hayward and the rest of this Steelers roster a chance to win a Super Bowl over the next 2 seasons. So let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. Will Aaron Rodgers sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers today? Give me a yes or a no down there in the comment section for today's pinned comment. YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question. So for me, guys, when it comes to the question of whether I think this is a good idea or not, I've been saying for weeks that I was open-minded, and then the more I thought about it, the more I liked the idea of Aaron Rodgers becoming the next starting quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Even at 41 years old, he's going to be 41 this year, I think that Aaron Rodgers can still have success here with the Pittsburgh Steelers, especially if they can surround him with a better supporting cast than what they were able to put around Russell Wilson last year. And there is historical precedent, guys, of older quarterbacks switching teams in their 40s and still having massive success with their other football clubs. You take a look here, first at Brett Favre in 2008. All right, you compare the numbers between the final seasons for Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre with the New York Jets. Rodgers' numbers were actually better than Favre's. I mean, just look at that 4.2% interception percentage for Brett Favre in that season. A lot of people said his career was absolutely over. Another guy that Rodgers performed better than, an older quarterback in this final season with a previous team, is Tom Brady with the New England Patriots, who only completed about 60% of his passes in the final year in Foxborough. Of course, the only stat category there where Brady outperformed Rodgers last year was the interception percentage. All right, so Rodgers' season last year was not as bad as some of the other quarterbacks that we have talked about. And then Brady and Favre ended up having phenomenal seasons with their new teams. All right, Brett Favre got the Vikings one play away from a Super Bowl. Tom Brady, at 43 years old, was able to win a Super Bowl with his new team and win 2 more division championships on top of that in the next 2 years. So to say that an older quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, who still has his arm strength with him, who still has his arm talent with him, who still has his football intelligence with him, can't still have success, I think it's a silly argument to say that. Now, can I say it, with a straight face that Rodgers has a 100% chance of replicating the success of Favre and Brady? No, I can't guarantee you that. But at this stage in the game, with the options left on the table for the Pittsburgh Steelers, in a win-now mindset, you got 2 years to get Cam Hayward a ring. All right, we've seen the historical precedents with Brett Favre and Tom Brady, 40-plus-year-old quarterbacks, going to new teams and helping them compete for Super Bowls. I think if your goal right now is to try and win a Lombardi trophy and put a ring on Cam Hayward's finger before he retires in 2 years, out of the options still available, I don't think it's close. Aaron Rodgers is the best avenue for the Pittsburgh Steelers to go down. And if he fails, he fails. You fire Mike Tomlin, you blow it all up, and you embrace a rebuild. I think that this is the correct course of action for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And if I am head coach Mike Tomlin, if I am owner Art Rooney, if I am GM Omar Khan, I am doing whatever I can do to get this guy under contract before he can go to New York and visit with the New York Giants. I don't want to take that risk. It doesn't necessarily have to be today when he's in the building, but at least come to an agreement before he can go to a different building and potentially sign with another team. So let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. What's the percent chance that Rodgers becomes a Steeler this year? Put it on a scale of 0 to 100 for me down there in the comment section. I think at this point, I think that there's some pretty shared interest here. I think that the meeting is going to go well, all these different things. I'm going to give it around a 95 or above % chance that he picks the Pittsburgh Steelers. There's always a chance that the meeting doesn't go well or that he goes and visits New York and it's an awesome visit that they just can't refuse to sign a contract with them. But I think at this point, all signs are pointing to Aaron Rodgers being the next starting quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And yes, Steelers Nation, I think that is a good thing. Now, before I go here, I do want to share some final thoughts on Aaron Rodgers potentially signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I think that this is exactly the move that this team needs to make. All right, like this team, plain and simply, guys, has been living in mediocrity for many years at this point. We all know it. 9-win seasons, 10-win seasons, not winning division championships, settling for wild card spots, and then getting blown out in the playoffs. All right, if they don't get Aaron Rodgers and they don't bring it back Russell Wilson, and you're stuck with Mason Rudolph and like a rookie quarterback, in a win-now season for this team, like what's the best case scenario? That you're maintaining a level of mediocrity and Mike Tomlin once again elevates a team that doesn't have a good quarterback to a 10-win season and then they lose in the playoffs in the first round again? At least with Aaron Rodgers, it's a little bit more boom or bust. There's a legitimate chance that he booms and becomes, bounces back like Brett Favre and Tom Brady were able to do, and this team is competing for Super Bowls. But there's also a chance that Rodgers is just absolutely terrible, and, Mike Tomlin has his first losing season, And then, at that point, you can pretty much blow it up. You can trade Cam Hayward, give him a chance to win with a competitor in 2026 before he retires. Trade T.J. Watt and let somebody else pay $40 million for him. Trade Minkah Fitzpatrick. Get a new quarterback in the 2026 NFL draft. I think that, it's almost like a win-win scenario for the Pittsburgh Steelers, where it's like if Rodgers comes in and plays well, yeah, this team is back to competing for Super Bowls again. But if he stinks and he's awful and he's a disaster and he ruins Mike Tomlin's culture in Pittsburgh, then it can be like almost like a cleansing fire that allows this team to finally move on from the Tomlin era and start something fresh with a new starting quarterback by taking a new quarterback in round 1 of the 2026 NFL draft. And, of course, the location of that draft is in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That'll be it for today's show, guys. Thank you so much for all of your support. We will get you guys updates on Aaron Rodgers all throughout the day, all throughout the weekend. I do think that there's a pretty darn good chance that Rodgers will sign to be the next starting quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers in the hours or days to come. So make sure you click that subscribe button right now. And until next time, guys, here we go, Steelers.